information, winds, altimeter, all of that stuff. Next, you calculate the pressure altitude, so you figure out where you're here, you figure out what's your temperature, and then you figure out what number is that going to account to. All right? Compare it to the temperature, like I just said, and figure out the number. After you figure out the number, make sure you calculate wind into account over here, and add or subtract the values as necessary. Okay? Finally, adjust for field type. If you have a soft field, as a turf or grass, that will increase your distance. All right? So I just want to take a quick example for you guys because this is very important and many people mess this up. All right? Let's suppose that we're going to go with a pressure of sea level. All right? So we are at sea level at 0 degrees. I'll make it nice and quick, okay? So at sea level, we're going to be at about 510. 510 and 1235. Okay? Now, let's suppose no wind, but we do have a grass runway. A grass runway based on figure number 3 on the notes there. You have to increase it by 45%. All right, so each airplane is different. I believe this is for a different type of Cessna that for us, usually we have just 40%. All right, we'll use the 40%, that's fine. Where's my focus? All right, so we're going to use 40% of the 510 first. 510 times 0.4 equal 204. All right. Now here is the thing. Because they said it will increase, you add them together, and then you get plus 510, and then you get 714. All right. Now let's talk about the total to clear 50-foot obstacle. All right. The note specifically says increase distance by 45% of your ground roll figure. All right, of the ground roll, very important. So basically what they're saying, if you want to know how much you're going to need to increase your 50-foot obstacle by, again, you take the ground roll figure that you figured out and you add it over here. All right. So you don't do 40% of this, you just do 40% of the ground roll. And then whatever number you get, you add that. All right, so that'll be 1439. Oh, I actually did it fast. Okay. This messes up a lot of people in a flight test. Okay, so read that very carefully. Good. Note the condition, performance based on the dry runway, use graphic charts, and all that stuff. All right. So, be familiar with your manufacturer's AOM. All right. Piper charts look a little bit different, but they have the same variable, right? You still have your density altitude, right? So this is your landing performance chart. You have your density altitude, you have your ground distance, and then your total distance, all right? But make sure you are understanding the difference because this time they are saying density altitude, not pressure, all right? So use the correct units when you're doing your calculation, all right? Don't get that confused. Slope of the runway. Most runways are graded so that they are virtually flat, but not all the cases like that. All right, in the CFS, you will have the runway data that will show you if there's a slope or not. And best performance will be to land uphill and to take off downhill. All right. And there's a short little video here that I'm going to try and play out. We don't need a voice for that. Music works. All right, so as you see, this guy over here, he's landing uphill. It's a fairly steep uphill.
Probably should accelerate.
No, why? You need to stop anyway, so it's helping.
But like he probably has to accelerate. He's accelerating.
Oh yeah, he has to. All right, so that was a fairly short runway, right? And then watch him take off again. Come on, buddy. You can do it. There you go. Cool. All right. So as you guys can see, all right, that was a fairly short runway. Okay. Now, make sure, what I would say to you guys, that make sure that you guys know if you're going to be landing in an uphill or a downhill. All right. The reason for that because it can catch a few people. If this is your runway going downhill, right? Going downhill, and you're just about to flare. So you're power idle, you bring it back to cruise, and then you're just going to defense, right? That flaring, you're gonna stay there for a little longer than usual because as you're descending, the runway is going down with you. All right. So it catches some people by surprise, and then they try to stall the airplane, and they're like, "Oh, why did I come in so fast or so high?" You're not high. You're just there's a downward sloping runway. All right. So just take note to that. Once again, like the previous charts, density altitude has a direct effect on cruise performance. All right. If you'd like to get to your destination faster, these charts are what you're going to get your figures based on. All right. So in a Cessna, we use pressure altitude. All right. So it didn't say density, so do not calculate the density. In the Piper, it does say density.
Pressure is 29.92, right?
Yes, based on standard.
And then density is so whatever the tower tells you.
Technically, yes. Okay. So let's suppose we have a thing over here. All right. So first determine your altitude. So let's say we want to fly at 6,000 feet.
Right.
No, just no need to write anything down. Just understand. All right. So at 6,000 feet, you have over here, all right? But make sure your pressure altitude at 6,000 feet is really 6,000 feet. Okay? So that can be something else as well. Using the pressure altitude formula, then you just match the temperature. So when it comes to temperature, the standard 20 below and 20 above standard, okay? Yes. I already did. What's the name?
Uh,